everybody, CT Hippo Natalie out on another adventure. Today we are at the Heritage Flight Museum in Burlington. Let me make sure I get that right because, you know, I screwed this up today. Yes, Heritage Flight Museum in Burlington. Not to be confused with the Flying Heritage Museum in Everett because, yes,
right.
Names are hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a neat little facility out in a little bit of a tucked away place, but if you're up in the northwest corner of the state, great, definitely worth a visit. So let's see what we can find. Got a M3A1 Scout car from the, I guess this would mostly be pre-war. So I particularly like the fact that it has a pair of water-cooled machine guns on it. Probably Browning 1917s. Don't know how original these are, but the ammo boxes are dovetailed wood. Got the mount tripods for them here. Pencil mount there in the center. I'm sure if Nicholas Moran was here, he'd be trying to figure out how to adjust the track tension because, you know, that's what he does. H-13 helicopter. You see that it's rigged for moving there. Since in flight the rudder head holds the whole thing up, makes it an easy way to move it, just pick it up by that. I do find it interesting that the tail rudder shaft is all of 5/8 of an inch in diameter. I mean, obviously these worked, but it does seem like something critical to flight would be a little bigger around. Standard Jeep with a 1919. And also, carbine tucked in there under the dash. A couple of practice bombs in the back, because, you know, sometimes you just gotta move a bomb around. Dodge WC Army Ambulance. Thump. Probably just taking the dumpster out. L-13 Grasshopper liaison plane. The folding wings are an interesting touch for an Army aircraft. And something you don't even often see on Navy aircraft is that the horizontal stabilizers also fold. So they were really kind of going all out for making these fit as tightly as possible. Interesting feature on this aircraft is the skylights. That being able to look up was clearly an important design feature. T6 Texan trainer, and a Harvard, which is the Canadian equivalent that was used in the movie Tora Tora Tora. They modified the aircraft, plated over the back seat, and changed the canopy to look more like a Zero. Which is interesting because from this angle anyway, it actually really kind of looks like a Val. Do a little bit with the boots there, and you could have a convincing Val. Another T6 here. And as you can see by the oil drip cans, all these aircraft are in flying condition. Interstate Cadet. And interestingly, this aircraft is believed to have been airborne over Honolulu during the attack on Pearl Harbor. There's some question as to whether it was this one or another one of the same type, but the evidence does seem to point to this being one of them. It was flown by a female pilot who went on to be part of the Women's Auxiliary during the war. The plus side is they have a lot of exhibits here. The occasional minus side is you can get a little tight moving around. PT-19 trainer. You can bet that got cold in some days. Have a lot of aircraft engines on display here, which is always nice. Sometimes you don't see what goes into them as well as the airframes themselves. And a Link trainer, which was one of the very first full motion flight simulators. Usual collection of models and uniforms and historic artifacts. Propeller counterbalances, counterweights. Some 2.75-inch folding fin rockets. So we have a AIM-4 Falcon missile. This was one of the very first guided air-to-air missiles, predecessor to the Sidewinder. Didn't work terribly well, but you know, first attempts. Next to a very large training hand grenade. See here where they plated over a hatch or another window. This is an AT-11 Kansan bomber trainer. And a T-34. And another T-34 being polished by an extremely dedicated volunteer. PT-13 Stearman. And definitely the centerpiece of the exhibit is this A1 Skyraider. It's hard to really just take in the size of this. You know, you look at these, you kind of tend to assume that all single-engine propeller aircraft are kind of about the same size. But it's also one thing to know that the Skyraider was originally built partially as an ASW aircraft. It's another thing to contemplate actually taking off and landing from a carrier in this space. I mean, there's your window. That's enough to see out, right? Close up of the auxiliary systems here. And the engine. Here's the 2.75-inch folding fin rockets in their pods. And then these guys here are the early development of what became the cluster bomb unit. Before they figured out how to make them pop out of the thing that you drop, these would just be ejected out the back of these tubes and dropped to the ground. So, you know, yet another case of development, little steps. As I mentioned, these are all most of these are, I believe all these are in flying condition, and so it takes a lot of maintenance space to keep that happening. This is a half-scale model of the Apollo command module. Though what's interesting about that is that makes it not much smaller than the Mercury and Gemini modules, which people did fly in. Nice collection of assorted models and a really small helmet. I also have an F-89 Scorpion and an O2 Bird Dog out there. And down at the end of the apron is a MiG-21 MF, because there was a time when they were practically giving those things away like candy. Artifacts from the space program, display about the attack on the USS Panay, and of course my favorite, because, you know, nuclear geek, an MB-1 Genie air-to-air rocket, because it's an unguided system, so not technically a missile. I don't think that's the case. So that's the Heritage Flight Museum. This was a very quick run through, but for being a small museum in a small town, it's very much worth the trip. So I will put the website down in the description and encourage you to come out and take a look. Until next time.